let's fire this up with Ian Larson. I don't have a whole much to say. Where did we meet? I can't even remember.
Just think through the whole golf club atlas, carving off garages.
Yes, yeah, that's how we ended up meeting. So hopefully the system that keeps blinking here will sort of will quit on us.
Hi guys.
Well,
So I'm Ian Larson, and I know I'm the guinea pig here, and most of you are probably like, who's this? I'm 37. I've been doing this in the golf course industry for 20 years now. I started out with my turf degree, but I've always done construction, even in college. Everyone was going to do an internship in college at a top 100 club. I went and did a Pete Dye, Love, Norman, and Fazio course, and fell in love with it ever since, especially golf course architecture. And I've been a student of it for 17, 18 years now. Up until recently, the past few years, I've been a project manager for a local construction firm. And as of the new year, I took the leap into starting my own business called Surface Golf that I'm the principal of, where it's design, build, GPS surveying, and plan preparation. I'm the kind of guy that I just like to be out there every day, whether it's on the machine, surveying, managing, whatnot. I love it, just want to be out there. So before that, I was involved in the construction of Villanova Golf Club, Hollowbrook Golf Club in Westchester County. Also a small course called Skytop up near Penn State. And then after that, I wanted to go out and study George Thomas. I went to work at Riviera, and then went down the street to LA Country Club. I've been wanting to go out on my own ever since then, but the time wasn't right with the market. Now it is. So with her support, I finally made the leap, and here we go. So without further ado, what I'm going to present here is last year, when I was project managing, I finished the renovation work at Doylestown Country Club with Steve McKay. After that, I went to work with Bobby Weed down in Florida at Palmacia Country Club in Tampa, and that's Tom Bendelo. I did a greens renovation with him. When I was finished with that project, I was given the orders to go to this middle of Indiana, and I was like, middle of Indiana, what could possibly be out there? They told me Culver Academy. It's a military school, it's a 9-hole course. I'm like, oh geez, this is, So I did my research, and I've heard of Langford and Moreau, never heard of Culver. But even so, with Langford and Moreau, they're still some of the most under-talked about architects, I think, from the classic era. And when I did my research, I was amazed, and I couldn't be more excited to get out there. So, Culver Academy, private, very prestigious military academy in Culver, Indiana. It's on Lake Maxinkuckee. That whole area is considered to be like the Cape Cod of the Midwest. My first week there was when Steve Irsay was put on hold from the Colts. I saw him at a supermarket one day when he was at his lake house. But in 1922, Langford and Moreau were contracted to do a design for the Culver family. And in 1924, they built the first 9 holes. It was originally going to be 27 holes, but with the Depression, World War going on, they kept it at 9. And unfortunately, it never came to be 27. It remained 9 ever since then. But William Langford, one of a contemporary of C.B. McDonald and Seth Rayner and Steve Shovel Banks. These guys, he partnered up with Theodore Moreau, and they did some pretty amazing stuff. I think it was like somewhere around 150 or 200 courses in the span of 30 years, I believe. William Langford, he's a young guy, played for the golf team. That put him out on the East Coast during the time of right after National Golf Links was built. So he was able to play and study that. Being from Chicago, he partnered up with Parks and Recreation civil engineer, Theodore. And together they started their firm. And this here is
What I go back to the bigger one, South Point on us, like going back to, sticking out the South Sorry, I'm not sure what's.
Yeah, sorry guys with this blanking. So, they were contracted to design this course. They broke ground and built it in 1924. Some of you may or may not know, their design style is they protect the park. The scale and the boldness of their architecture is amazing. It's right up there with McDonald and Banks. They were probably their inspiration, to be honest. They're Chicago guys, and they were contemporaries when right after Chicago was built. So a lot of their golf courses you get to see odes to templates, not exact replicas, but very similar. So here's this right here is the 1939 era, the first 9 holes that were built. This over here, this is Lake Maxinkuckee. The military academy is right here on the shore, up here. Clubhouse sits right up on here, on this hill. And so this was the initial 9-hole routing. The numbers 1 through 9 were not right because they were actually numbered further their 27-hole layout. So like number 1, which is down in the corner here, that was actually number 10 of the 27. Number 5, this was supposed to be number 1. Because it only built 9 holes, they did this routing and changed the numbers a bit. So that's what the land looks like today. The red dotted line, that's the perimeter of the original design of the 27 holes. 18 more holes are going to be built out in this area. And here's the original design. And let me just first say, this was a project done by Bobby Weed. This was a true restoration done by Bobby Weed and his associate Chris Monty, and they were nice enough to forward some of these plans to me. This is Ryan Moreau's original design of all 27 holes. And
it looks compact.
it is compact, but the characteristics of that land, you wouldn't think in Indiana that you would get some topography. There really is some contours on this piece of land you'll see.
How many acres is it?
I think it was about 140, roughly 150 right there. And this is an overlay of the original plan on what the land looks like today on your board. Yeah, it's kind of hard to see. All right, so I'll read this. This is Bobby and Chris's preliminary plan for the academy, and I'll just read it for you in their words. Culver Academy's golf course is a fully intact design by noted Golden Age architects William Langford and Theodore Moreau. It represents a unique aspect to the secondary school arena. The project proposes a sustainable restoration of the course to its original design, resulting in an authentic layout that will encourage development of traditional golfing skills and values. The course will realize its full potential to improve the games of golf, for team members, recruit new students, and provide alumni, faculty, and staff a unique recreational outlet. Project objectives include restore the golf team use and encourage more usage by the Culver community, build complete practice facilities to hone skills, install automatic irrigation to provide consistent conditions year-round, Restore fairways and putting greens to their original Baroque scale, create a more authentic, interesting, and strategic golf course, and develop a sensitive and sustainable model of austere maintenance practices, and to just promote the traditional characteristics of the game. That's what Bobby and Chris put together a few years ago. So, getting into the course, this is what I saw when I first pulled up to the project that morning. Golf course closed. The great thing about Culver Academy is that it's a private military academy. It's not a public course. It's not a private course per se. It's the golf course owned by the academy, and they're not trying to generate revenue from it. So with this restoration, I think it's very unique where no other architect had a hand on this course. This course is fully intact the way it was built in 1972. It was never lengthened, never changed. The backstory of it for the restoration is that after it was built, the depression hit, the war came, and they decreased the budget significantly, so they just let the bunkers go. Over time, the bunkers have been grown over, and what we saw at the golf course was all of the old contouring around the greens and the fairway bunkering sitting right there. You can see where the bunkers were, just waiting to be restored for decades. And finally, I'm not sure how the decision came about to finally do it, but they chose Bobby Lee, who is a disciple of Pete Dye, and actually has his house, his family lake house, right down the street. This is where Pete and Alice first started playing golf together and getting into it, between Culver Academy and Lake Max and Kentucky, right down the street. So the restoration was going on last spring and into the summer. I got there after construction. My job was to go out by myself to spend a month, 5 weeks, doing the grow-in of everything and to GPS survey everything. The features that were restored, drainage, irrigation, and give Bobby and the club a detailed as-built plan of everything that they had done. And this right here is a 24 by 36 that I put together up, and every white dot was a restored bunker. There was not a single sand bunker on this course for the restoration.
How many are there now?
45 altogether, 45 bunkers. So, here we go to number one. Number one's 515 yards par 5. Dog leg left. Landing areas right here. Ramps up, this is the top of the hill right here, so you cannot see the green from the tee. You're aiming for this fairway at the pitch point there by the. Number one is a great teeing area by the clubhouse. These are the original tees. Nothing's ever been extended on this course. It goes down into this swale of native vegetation. The fairway rises up. Landing area is right here. Then it's all downhill into this great green complex. When I GPSed it, it's two guys maintaining this golf course. The fairway lines were sometimes hard to see because I think they mowed like once a week. But really, I think what Bobby wants for this hole in particular is if you're going to take the risk of driving over this bunker, I think this fairway ultimately is going to be out here. So to reward the golfer for clearing that bunker.
What's the carry?
You know what? Without having my CAD file, I'm not sure what the carry of that is. I'd have to say that's a good 280.
But did the original design have that bunker in the fairways?
Yes. Yes. This is everything you see here is a true restoration in every sense of the word. Historical restoration. Yeah. That's correct. Everything that you see is how Langford and Moreau placed it and built it. Yeah.
So was there never a fairway on the other side of that bunker?
Back in the 20s, everything was pretty much mowed the same height.
Yeah.
So there wasn't 3-4 inches of rough behind there.
Earlier you say when you hit a good tee shot on this hole, you could not see the green?
You cannot see the screen, you'll see it.
So you say it's downhill, so where's the rise and the fall, right?
Once you come off this tee right here,
Right.
this is downhill like 30 feet. This is a 30-foot
They're
golf.
going to where the tee shot is.
Coming back up, this is the apex right here. Okay?
It goes up? And then
Yeah. In the next picture, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. From here, it's all downhill to the greens complex. And then when I map the contours of the greens, the red is going to the high points, green's low. So it's got a little bump in the middle here. It's high in the back to receive the shots into it. And like I said, these are all original bunkers. So I'll see some pictures of it. The next one. So that's the land here.
How about if you were way over here? Could you see the green?
This whole fairway is all canted down. Off of this bunker at the apex, it's all canted down. So your even lie on the fairway is going to be if you carried this, or if you laid up short. But if you went for it, even right there, it's all canted to the right.
How long is that second shot?
The second shot into the green, probably around 175 to 2 tops. And this is where you're going with your shot. You know, where this picture was taken, like I said, this would probably ideally ultimately be fairway on carry. All right, then number 2. This is Langford and Moreau's version of the Redan at Culver. This is one of my favorite holes out here. I sat on this tee and just took pictures of it like Leonardo was drawing his French kiss in Titanic. Like, this thing was just so sexy to watch. But yes, number 2, it's 108 yards, par 3. It's just an outstanding hole, obviously. This is what it looked like. Bunkers are grown in.
Wow.
You can see the greens complex, full contouring of the bunkering around it. One thing you got to remember with Charles Banks, CB, these guys, when they were shaping, today it's called, the technical term is angle of repose. And if I spend a lot of time in the dozer or a skid steer or excavator shaping, and you pay attention to how the soil's moving and how you shape it. These guys were basically excavating and flopping. Soil, sand, gravel, everything has, when you put it in a pile, drop it straight down and it creates that cone. Everything has different properties depending on what type of aggregate it is. It creates different angles. Sand might be flatter, gravel will be like that. Soil can go almost straight up and down sometimes, depending on clay, whatnot. So that's what you see a lot with these old architects, and that's why with Rayner, CB, these guys, that's why they were able to create the angles, the angular, that you see with these bunker faces. I'll show you next.
And do you think that entire green area there, all the way from the right side, left side, is all built up off the natural grade by how much?
I think it's
Or
probably
not?
split half and half.
You do?
I think the native, the original grade was probably right around here. I think this had somewhat of a shape to it, like a greens complex. But I think if you split it half and half, where it's a cut, fill. So this is before the blade hit the ground. That's what it was like after. These bunkers were just sitting there, waiting to be restored. Construction-wise, this project was really simple. I mean, if you do the historical research into Langford and Moreau, the bunker styling, they never really, at least on this course, I mean, Jim, you might have, like at Larson, did they ever flash anything?
Not at Lawsonia. We did a project in Chicago at Bryn Mawr Country Club up in Lincolnwood, and they had They would take that bunker style and those earthworks and the sand was going up. They'd still have the caves coming down, but they had stronger bays and flashing sand there on that particular course.
Yeah.
But on other places, Rocky and some other places we worked, it's been pretty much flat to the ground.
Yeah. So, you know, if you stay consistent with the historical aerials and the photographs that we do have, everything's basically flat. Well, there's a cut and fill. And that's how they created it. You know, this redan in particular, right here is your kick plate. Can't really see it as defined right there, but that's your kick plate going on your green, angled back to the left.
You know, Ian, I'm wondering if this whole swale in front of the green isn't a cut to fill.
Yeah, they basically cut everything except the approach and the kick plate. You'll see in a second here, there's bunkering around the whole greens complex. That's from the left side, where you can really see this kick plate. You know, it's a very different dam than North Berwick in Scotland, or even up to Chicago Golf Club with greens very angular shading. This is a lot more organic, but it still has the classic elements of a redan. Kick plate, the angle of green, the bunkering for the redan, it's all that.
How much from the top right to the lower left of his drop point?
Top right to the lower left.
Yeah, for the green. Does the green fall down? Does it fall off that way?
Yeah, let's see. So if you look, here's the contouring I did. This is going to be your high point, so it's receiving your shots. I don't know if this is canted specifically of what your technical redan is as far as the canting of your green surface, but you know, they reclaimed a lot of the original green with the extensions. Low point. This up here would be red as well with the kick plate. I just don't have the contour matched with that. But it's got this high swale in the middle. That's probably a difference of 3-4 inches maybe.
It's high in the front right and then it's high in the back right.
Yeah.
What are your grass pipes? Fairway, green?
Just all cool season mud. Mixing everything.
They saw the banks?
Yeah,
Banks, or they,
there was no softening. There was no softening. Literally, the nature of it, with the bunkering being flat, they literally just had to follow the toe slopes. A lot of
so
these.
they just put the bunkers back, they didn't change any of the grasses or anything?
Nope. Yes, that's from the left side. It's also from the left side. And that's what inspired me, you know, just watching that. This is Chicago Golf Club. This is, you know, as we all know, CB grounded Chicago, but Seth Rayner came in and did the redesign of what he had routed. And classic for them. Kick plate, this green's going all the way back to this corner right here. I think that, yeah, right here's the flag of that day. That's the pin placement. But the classic front bunkering to the back. That's cool. And it's just the two versions. And it's a little bit more organic. That's Seth Rayner with very angular. And that's almost a straight line as far as that sight line. Okay, so number 3 is another par 3. You literally, what's great about this course, it's so walkable. It's so nice. Right off the screen, in between the bunkers, right there's the tee to number 3. And it's a downhill par 3. 190 yards. The green contouring on this is awesome as well. You see the picture, so. This was the original green before the restoration. This circle right here. Bobby reclaimed all of this in the back left. That was just kind of, you know, rough like that. But it was screaming, saying, you know, this used to be a green. So all of this is reclaimed, original green surface. That's this portion, this quadrant is probably a good 12 inches higher than that back, the back left.
What sort of money or assurances are in place that this is maintained
from now going forward? What's to say that these two guys can't let it go back to nature?
The business plan with this is essentially that it's going to be a very sustainable golf course for the Academy.
So they have a pile, they have money.
They have money.
Oh, good.
You know, when I was there were black SUVs
Oh, yeah.
with
Nobody's
flags
going
on
to the Academy
the front taking
Oh, jeez.
kids around campus, I think.
Someone cares about golf and the golf course.
Yeah, someone does. But it's not going to be the typical American golf model where they're going to dump a lot of money into this. There's two guys that maintain this right now, Randy and Bob, and they don't have a superintendent. I know Bobby Mead is trying to get a superintendent in place, and that will move to the middle of Indiana and do this. They might have done it by now, but I know at the time when I was there, they were really looking for the right type of person for this job.
Can't loan someone from a neighboring club.
It's not. I wanted to stay. If I didn't have a girlfriend, I might have stayed. Okay, so this is from the tee. It's downhill. This is before anything's touched. These trees are now gone. There's no trees behind this green.
Take the house out?
Is that?
Take the house out or?
You can see the contouring of the green from here, how bold this is. When I get the shadows right in the next couple pictures, you're going to see how awesome that ridge is going through the middle of it. So that's one picture. No trees. The shadow is kind of funky. You can see where the bunkers were put back. Bunker behind it. Three sisters type bunkering on the left side and one on the right. Here's from behind the green. It's behind the green, looking back up at number 2, the way out. Let's see right here. This is where I'm trying to grow in some bent grass after planting all of this green space. So, dark spot. That's where we scalped everything outside. So this is see Bausch, you know. That's the original. That green's now out here for an awesome pin back in this back left corner. I was hitting shots at that this evening. That evening I took the pictures. I was just taking shots. It's awesome. So the reason I put this picture on through the shadows, you can really see this ridge. Bisecting the screen. And I'll tell you, they had just aerified the week before, so these greens were probably sniffing at 5. But even on a good day, I don't think they're not getting anywhere near 10, 11, or 12. They're probably sniffing, you know, tops 8 or 9. Before the aerified now putting, it literally looks when you're putting, when you're watching Shell's Wide World of Golf. You know, and they're literally cranking that ball, and they have to push it up those slopes. That's what you have at Culver. It's fun. Picture. So that's number 3. All right, so number 4. This, even with the Redan, and number 3. I mean, I don't know if you guys would say with number 3, would this be considered an Eden pool, template-wise? I don't know. Maybe not. But this is my favorite goal of the whole project. Number 4, 335 par 4. Even when you go on the Golf Club Atlas, the write-up that Craig Disher did, he described it as, you know, dog leg left. For the restoration, all these trees right here. Your tee shot had to go this way. You pretty much could not even see that green from the tee. Trees right at the dog leg, forcing you to stay right on the fairway straight ahead. Again, this is before they touched it. That's what it looks like today. Now all of a sudden you go from a dog leg left to one of the coolest, I think, considered to be a cape hole that I've ever seen. Right here's your green. This picture's taken from the tee. Right here's your green. Take all these trees out that were probably planted back in the 20s that overgrown over all the decades.
You think the thing here on the left is enormous depression was a quarry or?
No, that's just the date of your original environment. Again, middle of Indiana. Yeah.
Is the soil heavily clay? What was the composition?
For the most part, it was clay, yeah, it was on the clay side, but very fertile, you know. Here's another picture that's, again, pouring out these bunkers, full contours. That's not original. I would say it's probably not. You know, they were cutting and filling, just lopping that soil up for that greens complex and building that up. This is from behind the green. Randy and Bob, you know, they were two guys. They got everything mown out every one or 2 weeks. So this is pretty penal. I kind of like it. but if you overshot this green, that's what you had in mind.
Green gravel?
Yes. There's an article of a story of Byron Nelson. I think it was Byron who drove it. Before those trees were really grown up to where they were. Number 5 and number 6, the next two holes, they weren't my favorite. They're good holes. They're classic Langford and Moreau where the topography is great that they used. The bunkering that they shaped was bold. The scale of it was big.
You've got a long timeline, Ian. We gotta make sure we get everybody else in the day, right?
All right. So that's plan for 5. 6 from the tee. 6 from the tee. So there's a bunker restored here in the woods. Cut down all these trees. There's a bunker there. There's a bunker here. There's a bunker out here. And a bunker here. The greens complex is up here. That's the green site before it's touched. There's a bunker sitting there. You can see all the mounds. There's a bunker at the bottom where there's mounds. In front of the green to the left.
Is there an alternate set of tees or only a 9-hole routing?
Just a 9-hole route.
No alternate set,
I
okay.
know. And this is what it looked like. You know, we didn't have to resod anything. Basically, cut these old sand bunkers out. That's it. Took a sod cutter to it, excavated it out.
Was there sand?
Where did you shoot it?
When you scraped it out, was there sand?
It was like a sandy loam, you know, because the grass being grown in, it's creating organic. You know, so it was more sandier loam than the rest of the property. No, there wasn't like straight sand sitting on trees.
Bringing it in?
Yes, yeah, they brought in all the sand. That's the back picture. That's fairway bunker on the right. Popped in. It's a good picture. Number 7. This is considered to be probably the hardest hole on the course. 425-yard par 4. Especially back in the day, we were playing hickories and the old feathers or whatever ball they were playing at the time. You know, off the tee. Had this bunker with the fairway in front of it, wrapping around it. I think Bobby's going to actually bring this closer, bring this bunker more and play to the fairway. That carry, it's a small carry, but you got trouble here. This is your landing area. Dog leg left. That's what it looks like off the tee with the new bunkers in. Where we can see your line of sight off the tee. This is even smaller when you're standing on the back of the tee this way. I actually think I was standing on top of my truck to take that picture just to get all the bunkering in. So eye level at my height, it's even smaller. That's from the middle of the fairway going into the green at the dog leg.
Doesn't.
bunkering all around this green complex as well. Number 8, 165-yard par 3 in the middle of the woods. Really, really pretty hole in the middle of the woods. Another greens complex where very, very cool bunker on each side of the greens complex. Pretty straightforward par 3. Get it to the green, don't get in trouble left or right. That's what it looked like before anything was cut in. Just looks like a turtleback greens complex almost. Another greens complex where you claim a lot of putting space to the left and the right and the back. That's what we score bunkers. Again, no flashes, flat sand. The tricky thing about this hole from the tee, you can barely see this bunker. Sometimes at the very back seat, you might not even know it's there. You don't play this course. I don't have a picture of the top, but it's just as cool faces as the one on the left. Probably even more. And the home hole, number 9, 475-yard par 5. Paid attention to the scorecard because you start off with par 5, then you got 2 par 3s, handful of par 4s, number 8's a par 3, and then you end with a par 5. Off the tee, you can probably see to about right here. That's your horizon line off the tee. These bunkers right here are so deep, you can fit an 18-wheeler inside with your contouring of this. There's 9 for the landing area before anything was touched. You can see where the bunkers are. They're just sitting there. That, here.
How much play do the students avail themselves to the course?
I think even when it's open, I don't think there's much play at all. I really don't. That was the great thing about this project. I had this place to myself for 5 years.
Kind of shame though, don't you think? That the students aren't playing?
That's part of the program that Bausch is trying to get going here, is get the golf teams more involved with it, the community, you know. And there's a shot from the left side of the fairway with the bunkers put in place. That's the clubhouse. That's the clubhouse right there. It's just a very basic house with a nice front porch. And honestly, the only thing that's in there is the lockers for the golf team. It's really cool. Number 9 for the 27-hole layout was supposed to be 18. There's a shot of the clubhouse behind 9 green.
Shows you what clubhouse they become.
Very, very cool, quaint, of course. Very new driving. This is brand new. This is not a restoration. You know, Bobby wanted to get an area where, you know, chipping green, pine greens, practice bunkers, another practice green right here, and then the driving green. But 2, 4, 8 target greens out the field. Now you see the target greens. This is the target green. These are all target greens all the way to the back. That's Randy. That's half of the maintenance staff right there. And yes, he's mowing the driving range with like a snapper.
What, this pension?
Yeah.
I put this in as pretty interesting. This is like one of the very first modern versions of the Jacobson fairway. These These are called F10s, and I haven't seen one of these since I was in college. I went up to see my buddy at Shinnecock. Shinnecock had one of these. And these are, when you get into your modern day fairway mowers, this is what it was. This is what did the half and half. The up and back. It's just basically a frame with wheels, a seat, an engine and a transmission, and then the direct drive wheel-driven wheel mowers. That was pretty cool. Yeah. They had irrigation before. They had a very small pump house. They did have greens loops, and that was it. Nothing else was irrigated. But with this project, they decided to put in a single row irrigation system. And I don't think it was any more than 1,000 heads. I had 4 satellite boxes to control the irrigation, and each one would be through about 256 stations a box, so about 1,000 heads tops on this golf course. And this is the irrigation plan. It's very, very basic single row irrigation, kind of like what the Pinehurst did. You know, one down the middle. There were some wider spots. They threw a couple heads out on the outside, like here or here. But for the most part, it's all single row. That's all you need. I mean, this place has been surviving and fantastic for decades. They don't need triple, quadruple row irrigation. Threw this in there too, right down the street, half mile. Another line for Morel, Lake Maxinkuckee Golf Course. This is the course that's directly across from Alice's and Perry's Lake House. Again, same kind of clubhouse, just like a vinyl siding house. And I drove down one day for lunch and walked in just to see if I could talk to someone about going on the golf course. I walked in, no one's there. It's all gentleman's code. You know, if you were going to play the course, you put your $5 down on the table and go play. Usually everyone owns their own golf cart in the neighborhood. They just drive their own golf cart over the golf course. But I walked in, there's a little bank in there. This is the original plan that William Langford drew for what's called now the Lake Maxinkuckee Golf Course. I think this corner right here, there were 3 original holes. I think that's the oldest traceable golf in Indiana. 3 holes right here used to be called the Coffin Club back in the late 1800s, very early 1900s. Then they did this design called the Short Country Club. Now it's called Lake Maxinkuckee. So that's how it came. This looks like something that would be drawn up today. And this is now, I think this is from maybe 1926, with colored pencils. And this design is just awesome. The joined fairways with 5, 6. The greens complex for 3. Again, it's very old. It's basically up on this older platform with some native grasses around it. And I thought this was this is the original plan that they had. With their picture. And that's my last night in Indiana before I finally go back to see Jamie. I had this place all by myself. It was really quite beautiful. You know, it was one of the best projects. I didn't have a crew. I was out there every day by myself, just growing it in, mapping it, go back to the hotel, doing AutoCAD for it at night. And this is what I saw every night. You know, back here in the AC. I'll tell you what, if they would ever cut down these trees on the other side of the street, you'd have a beautiful view of the lake from this golf course. Fantastic. But this is number 4 again. This is number 4, what I call the Cape Bowl. And that's it.
Good job.